It's sunshiny day on the wild side. I'm really happy. I'm really excited because it's finally sunny. We've had like 8 days, I think it was. No, 9 days. 9 days of clouds and fog, which that's rare. I mean, it's pretty common to get a few days, 3 days of clouds, but 9 days straight. And some of it, like I said, was heavy fog. So I'm just so happy. Finally, Saturday morning. Yesterday afternoon, we got some blue sky, like patches of blue sky. But then last night, when I woke up 3 a.m., checked outside and it was all stars. Clear sky, so I knew it would be nice and sunny. So I'm excited because what happens is all my batteries died. I can charge them a little bit when it's cloudy. Like if I leave it on all day, it might do half a charge. But so that means I couldn't use them. I couldn't do all the studying that I'm doing on my computer. I couldn't watch movies. And sometimes I got to where I couldn't even use the light. Fortunately, I bought some new headlamps. So anyway, that's what's going on here. I mean, it's not the worst thing by any means. Kind of wish I would have done my dental trip to Arizona, though. Had I known, I could have been enjoying sunshine and not been bothered by the clouds. Because I love the cold weather. Like, it's really cold this morning and last night and today. But I don't care as long as the sun's shining. I like the cold. I don't really want it. I don't really want it to warm up because then the ground's going to be muddy again. So anyway, that's what's going on here. I know that there's a lot of places dealing with cold winter weather now. I know Texas and Oklahoma, and haven't heard about the places up north. I checked the weather though in Austin. I don't remember if it got down to the teens or if it got down to the low 20s last night. I think it got down. Anyway, it was around 20 at their coldest, and I think today it was like mid 30s, which is cold for Austin. But then I checked Oklahoma City, thinking at first they'd be about the same, but Oklahoma City, when I checked it, was like 8 degrees. Big difference. I don't think of them as being like that far apart. Whoa, crap. Water. And so anyway, lots of wild winter weather. It's been really mild here. Really mild winter before. In Jersey, it's 14. Well, you probably got wind going. Look at all that smoke I got coming out of my stove. You probably got wind in Jersey, don't you? Because you're right by the coast. I always think of coastal areas as pretty much constantly having a breeze, but maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, that would make it feel colder. Hey, good morning, Jennifer and Royce. Royce and Jennifer, we are under a winter storm slate and snow and negative 8 degrees. Oh, maybe I read it wrong. Gosh, that's rough. I hope your pipes don't freeze. That's the other thing. I asked you about the power, but I hope your pipes are okay. That's the other miserable thing. I'm making coffee. This is only my second cup of coffee today. So normally if I have coffee on the video, it's like my third cup. But not today. I like models. Says, yeah, it's really windy. I'm going to my friend's house to help his father dig trenches. Oh, crap. Again, and it's freezing. Well, hopefully the ground hasn't frozen yet. Hasn't froze yet. That'll be tough digging trenches in frozen ground. Craig Curtis's milk cow froze up. So you getting ice cream out of her now? Oh, good. Yeah, you got the water dripping. Yeah, that makes a big difference. I had a water pipe break once. The person that plumbed it had it in a non-insulated area in an attic space. And so one day water started coming down in one of my bedrooms. I'm glad to not have indoor plumbing. It's just not worth it to me. I don't have to deal with any of that now. Well, the freezing I'll have to deal with a little bit, because right now my horse's water is about, I've got like a 30-foot hose going from the well to the water trough, and I've got it coiled up and put into insulation, but I think it came out. So today I went out and there was actually a little bit of ice over the water. And that shouldn't be, because I've been in the same situation, but where the water trough was right by the well, so it only had to travel 4 feet. And what was I talking about? Oh yeah, and it kept it from freezing into like 5-degree weather at night. So for it to freeze last night and only be like 15 degrees, I think it's because of that long hose. So, but anyway, it's not bad. And also, I think we're through the worst of the cold weather. Our forecast now has 10 days of spring weather once again. That's what I was saying before. It's really spring weather big time. And that's a nice picturesque, nice lighting on the coffee maker. So anyway, now we're getting back into our spring weather. And I'm afraid when I do go to Arizona for my dental work, probably gonna end up going during the best time here. Because so far my experiment for wintertime is working. I was hoping that this year I wouldn't need to go to Arizona and Texas because I got lighting inside. I haven't been using lighting in the past winters. So I thought maybe this year it'll work, and so far so good, except for these 9 days that we had of clouds. So anyway, all right. And also in the background it looks kind of junky because that's my latest door. That's 3 inches of pink insulation. You can't tell it because of the shadows and the lighting, but that's 3-inch rigid insulation. And I had been imagining putting up a door out of wood and framing, that I would just make a door. But then I brought that over to see how it would help. I just angle it. I just put it up against the opening, and my goodness, it works well. Like, it works really well. So, doggone it. I'm having a hard time with the creamer in this weather, for crying out loud. But anyway, so I'm going to make a door out of the insulation. It's too cold on the floor. I got my heavy whipping cream bottles down there by the door, inside, and yet they're still freezing. I would have thought that'd be perfect, you know, inside but near the cold. So I made sure that they were kind of protected from the wood stove because it gets so hot. I was sweating this morning at 3 a.m. when I woke up. Had to open the door a little bit. Cheers, everybody. Here's to winter weather. I much prefer it to summertime. I just don't like the heat anymore. Still have a comedian sense of humor. Yes, I do. I got a friend down in Texas who said he might come up. He wants to buy a rig and travel around the country, and he does comedy. And so he said he might come up here. So I've been writing down some more comedy. I'm not going to start doing comedy because I don't want to leave. But if a friend comes to town, and then I'd hit some open mics with him. And yeah, so I still write jokes. I post them on Facebook. But a lot of times people don't really have my sense of humor. Like one that I was really getting excited about was when it looked like we were going to buy Greenland. Not because I think we should own Greenland. Like I don't care about that so much. I'm not even going to get into that. But a lot of joke material there. Like the first one I said was that we'd have to redefine Thanksgiving and use it and recognize that first winter of 985 when Eric the Red landed in Greenland and attacked the Skraelings. And then I was looking forward to starting talking about how America has a Viking heritage. But now it looks like we're not going to own Greenland, so all those jokes just gonna have to go on the wayside. Or in another dimension where we do own Greenland, they can be used. But anyway, I like that kind of material. How's my tooth? My tooth's been pretty good. As long as I'm really careful. All my water got frozen, so I'm waiting for it to thaw out. There's a big chunk of ice. And that makes it hard to drink because if I get that ice water on my tooth, then it'll hurt me for probably an hour or two. So as long as I'm careful, I brush my teeth with hot water from the stove. Well, I cool it down, get it lukewarm, because also hot water will hurt it too. But as long as I'm careful, I don't really have any pain. So, as I'm not in a hurry to go on my trip. Roy says, I agree with your theory of making Christmas January 25th. It makes all the sense in the world. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, what's today? The 23rd, maybe? 22nd, 23rd? Like, imagine that. It'd be the Christmas season all the way up until a couple days from now. It'd be wonderful. We could even move the calendar. Well, I don't think that would work with the stars that we align it with, the seasons. But because it gets colder, like we're actually finally getting winter by now. So if we moved it to actually December 25th, then we would still have the same dates. I haven't taken down my lights yet. I can't do that. Not yet. It's just too cheery to have the lights coming on at night. And I don't want to spend $40 to get different colored lights that are more Christmassy or more wintry and less Christmassy. Dead Wolf Resistance got both wood stoves ripping. Oh my goodness. And a -15 wind chill. Whew. I hope your house ain't drafty. When it was getting down to like 5 degrees in my other cabin, it just came up on my Facebook memories a couple weeks ago, or a week ago, I guess it was, and reminded me that it started getting so cold in there that I was having a hard time keeping up with it. But I also didn't have some firewood. I have some firewood now that if I put a chunk on there, like in the morning, I got to warm the place up, even though I keep it fairly warm at night. Still got to warm it up in the morning, and sometimes I'm struggling to get it warm, like hot. I'm talking hot, where I'm sweating and I got to open the door. But then I put this chunk of wood in there. I don't know which it is. I think it's either mulberry or ash. But I put that on the stove, and bam, it's hot. Like, I thought maple was really good firewood because I'm burning a lot of maple. But man, that other stuff, or if you get oak, it makes such a nice difference. So I don't think I had that when I was in my other cabin and winter was really closing in around me. But then when it almost, when I couldn't get, now mind you, that place, that floor isn't insulated and the roof isn't insulated. The walls have some insulation, like 2x4 insulation. And yet I was able to stay warm in there. And if I had better firewood, I probably could have handled it. So I need to remodel that one. That's one of the goals. Go take Greenland ourselves. Yeah. Well, hey, all you got to do is go in and start some fake businesses and say you're oppressed, and then the government and a whole bunch of middle-aged white women will protect you, and find a loophole in the government to take advantage of the fraud, and we can take Greenland that way without any fight, without any violence. I'm pretty pissed off about that one. All right. Well, now that we're getting back to sunshine, I can start living normal. And I've been studying stuff. I might finally make my first video on my Creekside channel fairly soon. And anyway, now that it's sunny, I just feel like I could come back to life. I mean, I was just giving up on it. Well, I was having fun outside. My chainsaw, I changed the chain on it, so it's cutting really nicely. It's cutting and stacking firewood and cleaning and organizing stuff. So I like the cold weather. So that was fun. But other than that, I was kind of giving up on doing things until kind of reliant on power for doing stuff inside. Dead Wolf Resistance says, yeah, ash or elm, oak, Chinese elm. Yeah, I got some elm too. We get quite a bit of elm firewood around here, and a lot of times you could get it for free because nobody likes it. It burns hot and it leaves nice coals. The problem is I gotta shovel out the coals every day. Like right now they're getting pretty full up again. So I just shovel out the dead ones and leave the live ones in, so I don't have to start a fire all the time. It's nice having nice firewood. So much fun. How much did I pay for my property? Which property? The one I'm on? Hey, Finland, howdy doody. Welcome. Welcome everybody. On the Greenland thing, last time Denmark sold land to USA, one of the small islands became the little Epstein. That's hilarious. So Denmark is holding out for the moral good. It's not that they don't want to sell, it's because we have a bad track record of misusing islands. So comforting. Wintertime is so nice. Got a fire going. Firewood outside. Because like I said, I woke up and it was cold. I went outside at like 4 a.m. I like to feed the horses when I wake up early. I wake up and then go back to sleep. And I like to throw the horses some food because, 4 a.m. is the coldest time of the night. And I knew it was cold, so then I checked my phone and it said like 18 degrees, which is cold for this area. 20s is pretty common, but getting down into the teens is when it's starting getting cold. So, but I didn't feel it inside. had no idea how cold. I mean, had no idea that it was a cold night as far as being inside. Hearing some noises. I had a pack rat get in here the other day, which is pretty easy because I don't have a door that closes. So when I got home, me and Maddie were looking for it, and I found it under the front step. And I think it was the same one that was getting into my pickup, because I saw droppings in my truck, which is so disgusting. So I set my trap in the truck, in the back seat of the truck, and I caught it. And then I used my 31 to dispatch it, which it's just so disgusting. And so I'm assuming it was the same one. I'm not having any more problems with it. Fortunately, they're easy to trap. I don't even put bait in. I just put the trap out and they go in it. Andy Porfirin from Ukraine. Oh, wow. Welcome. I like models too. You can talk to me about, you can private message me and I'll talk all day about real estate if you want. Private message on Instagram or Facebook. Deadwood resistance. So I'm going out for a little firewood today. Are you cutting down the trees? Or you look for deadfalls? And I think you're back east, so you probably have a nice selection of hardwoods. We only get the hardwoods around here when you go in town, because back in the 1880s when our town was being built, everybody was planting trees. So now we got these 100-year-old trees, 150-year-old trees. I don't know. Well, I guess actually the areas that most of the areas of town were built in like the 19-teens, 1920s, 1930s. So 100-year-old trees that people want to cut down, they start dying, start dropping limbs. It's dumb though, because people don't realize how much that shade helps. I really appreciate the guys, they call themselves arborists now, but the people that cut down trees. There's some that like to preserve the trees and they know how to limb them and save them. And I really appreciate those guys. They are worthy of the title arborist. The guys who just go down and hack trees apart or take them all the way down, even if they don't need to. It's frustrating because we have some beautiful roads in town with beautiful old trees, broad leaves. You can drive through them there. It's all shady. And I had a house that was built in the 1910, and the trees weren't on my property. They were on the neighbor property. But I got all the shade, and I didn't have any air conditioning. And back then I was tougher. And my neighbor house, some friends moved into that house. It was a rental. And they didn't have shade. And they were so hot in their house. And then you go over to my house where I did have the shade, and it was cool. You barely needed air conditioning. Did upstairs, but not on the main floor. And so that really opened my eyes to how effective just shade is. But people don't really realize it. They move into their house and cut down the trees as soon as they can. Like, and these people get to vote. Good grief. Just using it, just compensating with power and air conditioning. Oh shoot, is my microphone muffled? I can't look away. All right, we're going to try something else today. We're going to try again with the microphones. All right, can somebody be ready to tell me if it doesn't work, please? Yeah, on Facebook, you can message me on Facebook. All right. All right, somebody help me out here. Right now it sounds good, but I'm going to try the microphones because it should be better, and then I can walk away. Okay. Let's see. Mic 1 is responding. So, all right, here we go. Let me know if it's better or worse. Okay, can you hear me? Anyone? Please? Sounds good. Sounds good or sounds better? Sounds good or sounds better? How about now? Now it should be amazing because there's a good microphone system. The problem is Apple is so stupid with their connectors. If I get a new phone, then it'll have the upgraded connection, and I think now they finally got a good connection on their phones. But Apple is so freaking annoying. But I like it better than Samsung, but not to where I ever want to say anything good about Apple, except for their cameras. Their cameras are amazing. So, hey, Stanley, by the way, saw your comment. Welcome. Good morning. I've been saying here, Stanley asked, how's the weather? And it's fantastic. It's cold, so the ground is still frozen, which is nice. But it's finally sunny. I've been saying we had 9 days of fog and clouds. No relief until finally yesterday there was a little bit of blue sky breaking through. And then today, last night it went completely clear. All right, thanks. I like models. Thanks for pointing out about the audio. But yeah, message me on Instagram or Facebook, either one. My horse's foot, yeah. So because the ground is frozen, and then when it's not, it's really muddy. I want shoes on my horse that will keep her from slipping around. And unfortunately, not a lot of companies sell them. I went to 2 different stores so far, and they didn't have them. So I found a store that says they have them, where they got indentations on the toe and the heel of the shoe. And but I didn't want to drive out there. It's kind of across town, so I got to go back to town and get some horseshoes, and then I can finally shoe her. And hopefully all is well then. Once I get the shoes on her, then I'm going to ride every day. Dead Wolf Resistance asked him what he cuts down. Deadfall only. I won't cut down anything that is standing. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. The only trees I cut down for small projects or second growths. Oh, interesting. That's cool. All right, thanks for the audio check, everybody. Oh. Well, the mic's working. Let's go outside. Let's see here. Whoops. Go enjoy the sunshine. Craig, how's your Texas weather? I know Texas is getting hit. Look out, dog. They like to stand right in the door. There's the dogs. Poor dogs are getting old. Sparta can't see or hear like she used to. Maddie's still doing pretty well. But they still walk around and eat pretty good, so that's good. Whew. Yeah, it's cold out here, but it's sure nice. Look at that. All that blue sky. Craig says ice 26 degrees. Dang, that's cold for Texas. And if you're not used to it, that's really cold. So I plan to move my trailer and into a better area where I got a little more width. Here's my horses. Horses always enjoy the sunshine in the morning. They stand broadside so they can get warmed up. These spoiled horses, look at this. So I feed them in the trough so it catches the food and less waste. And then what do? They take it and throw it on the ground. And here's my ice. Like I said, that's all frozen. I've used this system when it was 5 degrees out, and it kept it from freezing over. Yet last night it just gets into the teens, and that's some getting pretty thick ice. But I'll show you what I mean here. So this hose is too long, and it fell out on the ground, so I need to put it back in there and add some insulation, and that'll keep it from getting too cold by the time it reaches the water trough. So in the past, I had a water trough just right here, right by it. So, but now I got the horses pinned. In the past, I just let the horses run loose. But these two horses, that was when I had my geldings, these dang mares. Mainly it's just the one dang mare. Comanche Moon, the white one there. I tried letting them both loose, thinking, well, they've adapted to being here at home. They know so they won't leave. Well, you know, I tested it. But first thing she did was headed for the hills. I told that story before. She took off. I watched them go. No, that's right. That was a different time. The time that it was on purpose, I thought, well, I better go check on them. It'd been like an hour. I went and checked on them, and they were right by the gate. We don't close the gate here. It's the cattle gate, and there's no cattle out. So it stays open. But they were over there by the gate taking off. So I had to hustle and get them. And then another time, she walked out. The way the fence was set up, I didn't realize she could walk out. Like, in other words, she walked right over the fence. It was kind of funny. And because there was a hill behind it, and the fence was springy, so she figured out if she just walked right up the hill. At that time I ran to catch him. Unfortunately, I did. Grain, you take grain and it works magic. Dang horses are junkies for grain. See how beautiful it is? I just absolutely love it. I don't care if it's cold. Just want the sunshine. Dead wolf resistance. That's cold for Texas. Hopefully that clears out soon. Yeah, it looks like only a few days is forecast for that intense winter weather. But I only checked 2 places. And then you never know what the forecast is going to bring. Stanley York says 9 degrees and snow. Oh my goodness. I'm jealous. I wish if it's going to be cloudy, at least give me some snow, for crying out loud. But nope. That wasn't in the cards from God to dish out snow. Instead, we just had ice. And the ice made it nice. There's still ice up on the hills. All the shrubs, crystals all over them. It was really beautiful. So that was the next best thing to actually having snow. It was unique weather. I've been out here now for 9 winters, I think. This would be the 9th, I believe. And we had really intense fog once. or twice, but not like we did this year. And it doesn't always. It was also cold, so we had fog and cold. That's really rare combination here. Whew. Oh. And at least I didn't have to run my freezer because I couldn't anyway without batteries. But get the sunshine off of it. What's up, horses? They're not very talkative in the morning. Well, got my solar panels out, covered with sun. All my maple firewood and my sagebrush firewood. Can you see that? Oh. This sagebrush firewood is pretty nice because it's got all that tinder on it. So it's nice to start a fire with it because it's like it's got its own tinder, kind of like those firewood things that you buy in the store. You just light the paper. It's kind of like what those are, a Presto log or whatever. Oh, closed it up. Oh, shoot. Well, guys, I haven't been studying any Old West stuff, so I don't really have that to talk about. Anybody watch any good Westerns lately? I haven't been watching movies because I don't want to. I can watch movies on my laptop, but then I got to charge the laptop, which I did for the first few days I did that. But then after a while, I didn't want to use up the batteries. So it's getting pretty bleak around here. Started to get depressed one day, not like seriously depressed. So I went to town, hung out in town for the day. I thought I'd preserve my battery by not running the lights or the charger. Well, got home and the battery died anyway. I don't know, that didn't make sense to me. Dead Wolf Resistance says I got snow just the right amount. I was able to cover my trailer skirting with a nice snow wall. Oh, nice. Keep the floor nice and warm. Yeah, it's amazing how well that does. Oh, Craig Curtis watched John Wayne the Shootist. Good stuff. I watched a Maverick episode with my brother when I went into town. There's a Maverick episode that's a spoof of Gunsmoke. That was really good. Young Gun clips on YouTube. That's awesome. Yeah, Young Guns is good. I was pleased that a Billy the Kid historian, he's put out 2 books on the subject. He spoke well of Young Guns. I was pleased to hear that because Young Guns obviously is very much a Hollywood take on the story, but they got a lot of things right in the movie. And so I respect it a lot for that. So it was good to hear a well-known historian basically saying the same thing, except that he knows the guy. I think he said he knew the guy that wrote the movie, I think it was, and how the guy really did intend to put a lot of detail into it. There's a problem with a movie, especially a movie on Billy the Kid. If you're not going to do it like Quentin Tarantino style, where you just like take a week or 2 days of Billy the Kid's life and make a story out of that. You just can't make a movie on Billy the Kid and expect it to be totally accurate. Same thing with Tombstone. I mean, Tombstone had a lot of factual stuff, but I mean, like they only had 3 brothers there in the movie, but in real life, I think there was 5 brothers there. I think Warren was there. Maybe it was 4 brothers, but anyway, it wasn't just the 3. And you know, there's so much more they could have told in Tombstone, but how do you do that? And it was already a long movie for Hollywood standards. So you got to cut things out, and for storytelling, there's so many characters in Tombstone, it was kind of hard to keep track of them the first watch through, for me anyway. And so that's one thing. You can't have too many main characters. That's something that was a big deal about Game of Thrones, is that they were able to do it, but they also had 2-hour episodes, or whatever it was. Was it an hour? Whatever. They had long episodes, and they had dozens of episodes versus a 2-hour movie. And so it was even daring to do it even in that setting of long episodes and multiple episodes. And that's how I think Billy the Kid's story needs to be told. That's why if I am able to do well with movie making, I do want to do Billy the Kid's story, because it needs to be done that way in a series where the characters and the situations can have time to be built up. And I really love the whole series thing. I mean, I got hooked on it with Game of Thrones back in 2017. That's when I started watching it. And I was blown away. I mean, to me, that's the way you make a story, is long episodes and as many episodes as you need, so that you got plenty of time to build up detail and tell the story. And I love movies too. Like there's some movies that are just great in 2 hours, like Pulp Fiction. That's just incredible. Forrest Gump, Napoleon Dynamite. They didn't need to be series. And but there's a lot of them that really did need to be series, like Young Guns. It's a good movie for a movie, but to actually do it needs to be done longer. And Tombstone, it'd be incredible. I wish Tombstone would have been done Game of Thrones style. That would have just been amazing. Oh, Dead Wolf Resistance. You watched the Historian in the community post. Oh, yeah. I forgot I shared it. That was the one that was the Billy the Kid author, right? James Mills. Yes, right. Yeah, because I talked to the guy that made the YouTube channel. I found him he posted in a group on Facebook, and then I went and watched it. It was a good interview. So anyway, that's that on movie making. I could talk hours and hours on that subject. Huh. Well, I haven't been studying a whole lot. I've been studying for my other channel, but the other channel is where I'm going to talk politics and religion. I'm not going to talk that here. I did a little bit before, but this is going to stay a history channel, an Old West channel. And speaking of, so this is my shooting bag that I made. I rounded off the flap just recently. And this is, I can't show the hardware that I used, but it worked really well for dispatching that rat, the big old pack rat. I used my cap and ball. And currently this is I don't smoke much, but it's like the tobacco is always too dry and it's pointless. But anyway, it's got my the pipe is very essential for an Old West cowboy impression. I need to get an actual historical pipe. And then my the round balls and the caps, the percussion caps. That's what's nice about these percussion revolvers. It doesn't take much for your shooting bag to be equipped. Just round balls, caps, and powder. So that's for my 60s impression. That's right now the powder flask I'm using. And I bought the measure. So that's the amount. I think that's 20 grains that I'm going with. Maybe it's 18 to 20 grains. Makes it a pretty powerful little pistola. And we'll see. Maybe this year I'll go hunting again with my 60s impression. We'll see. A friend of mine is making some nice clothing. And I took a picture on the thumbnail last week. And was it last week? Yeah. Because he and I visited the day that the fog started. That night I got home and it was foggy. That was on a Thursday. So yeah, the thumbnail, I was wearing the coat, the 60s style coat that he's making, which is a fantastic reproduction. The way that he built it, the insides, he did the canvassing correctly and then added another layer, what I call quilting. I think that's the correct thing. So hopefully I can get a 60s coat from him eventually. And then my 60s impression will be pretty much set. Whew. All right, well, maybe we're going to have a shorter episode today. Yeah, you smoking your pipe? Yeah, I'd pull my pipe out, but the tobacco's dry. I don't think I even got the tobacco in here. Let's see, where's it at? I don't think I got tobacco in here. I think it's all in my truck. And like I said, it's too dang dry anyway. Here's my other shooting bag. This shooting bag I got set up for my rifle. So this one, a lot nicer. I really love this one. It's got a lining inside of it and a pocket. Stanley York, you got 5 cap and ball revolvers. Very cool. I sometimes wonder if I regret selling my my 1860 Colt. It was a Colt 2nd generation, and just a beautiful, one of the best looking guns ever made in my opinion. And I sometimes wonder if I regret it, and then I shoot this little revolver, and then I have to clean it, and I remember, oh yeah, that's why percussion revolvers aren't really for me. I didn't come from a family growing up where we cleaned our guns, and where we maintained our cars. So it's kind of a hindrance for me. So it's better to have modern cartridges where I don't have to worry so much about cleaning them. I ruined a revolver by not knowing that. I didn't realize that black powder was so corrosive, and I ruined my revolvers. But fortunately, someone was able to use them for mounted shooting anyway. Well, folks, next week I'll have a lot more to talk about. There's a little patch of road up there. There, see that vehicle? There's a little stretch of road where people can see down here and I can see them. And I don't like hearing vehicles, but it's not so bad. I mean, oh, you could hear that vehicle? I don't know if it, I think it was a side-by-side. There's a lot of people come out here at side-by-sides. And they can't come out to my place because it's private. So that's nice. But other than that, I never have to deal with traffic noise. Because I really don't like traffic noise. Yep, so my tobacco is in the truck, so it's frozen. Probably not even worth lighting it up. Hilarious side-by-side. Yeah, I'll be honest, I really want a side-by-side. I wanted a Jeep. I went through all the vehicles options, and I decided a side-by-side would just be the best. Out here we got a lot of rocks and sagebrush, and just seems like those side-by-sides can handle it the best. And problem is with my dogs, I'd need a four-door. There just wouldn't be room in a two-door. But anyway, if I can get one of those, I don't know. Now that my horse is rideable, I don't care as much, because if I can get her going, then I can start riding her. But I really want to do the cross-state rides. There's a cross-state trail here in Washington that's for 4x4s, and they have them in almost every state. I know somebody here in town went through one in Oregon, way out. I think it was near the eastern border of Oregon, mostly where that trail goes. Anyway, that'd just be so much fun. Just a bed of coals and a little bit of wood, and keeps it nice and warm, which is fine. However, if I don't add wood at the right time, well, then it's too cooled off. That's the catch-22. It's like, it's perfect heat to heat the place, but if I don't take advantage of it by adding wood, then I got to add a bunch of kindling. So just got to keep the fire going. But also, really the trick is you get it hot enough, you get the big stuff going and shut it down. And then you only have to add it every like 6 or 7 hours, depending on your stove and depending on what kind of wood you got. But I like sitting with the door open too much. So sometimes it burns faster because I like sitting with the door open. My other wood stove, I've got a glass door, and then you can watch the fire. But I kind of like this one better for the cooking surface on top. And so that's what it is. Glorious winter time. I don't want winter to end, honestly. I like that the days are getting longer. Now we're a month away from December 21st now, so the days are going to start being kind of noticeably longer through February. But as much as I love spring, winter is the best time for me. So got to soak it up. This summer I'm going to do something different. I'm actually going to run an air conditioner. So I don't know if I'm going to disappoint people, because my channel's the wild side, and running an air conditioner isn't very wild. But I'm planning to shoot my movie in June when it's still fairly cool out, and it gets kind of hot during the day, but nice long days. cools off. But then for July and August, I'm going to be editing my movie. So I got to edit the video. I got to color it. That's where you go in, make sure all the skin tones and the colors look nice. And then on top of that, I got to add music. And I don't know which of those three is going to be the toughest for me. Probably the coloring and the music. But I'm planning to do it all myself. Oh, and the audio. The audio I don't look forward to doing. But if I do it right, it shouldn't be too horrible. But you got to add sounds to it. And it's going to take forever. And I'm not exactly a patient guy when it comes to editing. So anyway, that's why I'm going to be sitting in here with an air conditioner going and editing my movie. Hopefully I get it done in 2 months. We'll see. We'll see. I think editing the clips together is going to be the fun part and the easiest part. And but doing the audio and the music and the coloring, I think that's going to be tough. So I'm going to be spending as much time as it takes. So that's why I'm going to run an air conditioner, because it's not practical for me to sit in the shade with my computer. And actually you need controlled lighting anyway. So that's why this summer it's going to be different. That's the plan anyway. We'll see. Never know what really happens in life. That's why I barely make plans. Now, I know most people have a different philosophy, but we'll see. So anyway, that's the goal. It'll make summertime more tolerable. The other idea was going to Colorado. I've found places in Colorado that are like 7,000 foot elevation where they've got a town. And then there's public land outside of there, 7,500 feet, 8,000 feet. And I checked the weather, like the average weather for those towns. And the hottest they get is usually like their average is 70s in the summertime. So that's the other way to beat the heat. If you're like me, can't deal with the heat. But we'll see. Maybe some summertime I'll take the horses and trailer down to Colorado and explore it for the summer. We'll see. We'll see. All right, folks. Well, I think that's enough. Oh, hey. Oh, yeah, Yamato Simmons. Huh. Yeah, welcome back. You saw a short film I made. Huh. You mean one of my YouTube videos? Wood stove light. Yeah. Generator powered AC. Well, I'm actually going to use solar power. Not going to use a generator. I hate generators. For one, fuel's expensive, and for two, they're noisy. But I got enough. I can do solar panels and run the AC off of that, because it'll just be when the sun's out anyway. I don't need it. That's the one benefit of living out here in the desert, is even in the summertime, at night it cools off. As soon as the sun drops down behind the hills, the weather's perfect. Except for August. This last year we did have some pretty hot evenings. But other than that, that's the benefit. It'll be miserably hot, and like I say, as soon as the sun dips behind the hills for the night, it's just perfect. And it even gets cold at night in July. So. Oh, cool. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for saying so. Hopefully I don't know. I got a shorter story idea to make too. So I'm going to hopefully make that. And it would have been perfect to make in the fog when there's a little bit, there's still patches of snow out here. And that fog would have been perfect for this other one. But without being able to charge things with solar setup, it's kind of a catch-22 there. What's Carbondale, Colorado like? Is that one of those high elevation places? So there's a decent amount of snow up in the mountains, I think. Here where I'm at, honestly, I think even a mile away at one of the campsites that I've used in the past, I've made videos at it. I'm pretty sure there's even more snow up there. So, but here at my place, there's just really small patches in areas where it's shaded all day long, like maybe under some sagebrush. And but it's not far. Up in the mountains, there's snow, and I think on the way to Seattle, going through the mountains, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of snow up there. Hope so, because we need it in the summertime. Actually, I still hope we get snow. There's some in the forecast, but we'll see. The forecast always seems to be wrong, but I still wouldn't mind if we get another foot or two of snow here, because my my runoff creek is full of water, but it's kind of slowed down to a little trickle of movement. And so I'd love to get some snow in late February and not have it melt off too quick, so that maybe I have a creek through March. Hopefully. We'll see. Every year is different. Never know what to expect here with winter. And it could be spring weather from here on out, which is pretty normal, or we could get a huge blast of snow and winter in February or March even. So it's hard to say. But so it makes it fun. Part of it makes it exciting. Oh, you're in New Mexico. I didn't remember that. Yamato. I thought maybe you're in Japan. Which, speaking of, I finally watched an Akira, what's his name? Kurosawa movie. My goodness, that's a good movie. He's the guy that Fistful of Dollars. Fistful of Dollars was a remake of a Kurosawa movie. Most people know that, but for you who don't, called Yojimbo. It's free on Prime, by the way. Wait, no, it's free on HBO. I don't think it's Prime. Anyway, good movie. The guy's just an incredible filmmaker. I was gonna start watching his movies, and then no son. Oh, cool. All right. Here's an actual report from Colorado. I was at 8,000 feet. It was awesome. Right up in Marble, Colorado. Rode the high country in Gunnison. That's hilarious to talk about high country when you're at 8,000 feet. Around here, I think 6,000 and 7,000 is really high country. And to put that in perspective, folks, Mount Rainier, which is a pretty dang tall mountain, is, if I remember right, 14,000 feet. So 8,000 feet. I think Mount Adams is one of our other mountains that's not nearly as high, but I think it's like 10,000. So starting at 8,000 feet is just kind of funny. In Gunnison White River National Forest. So were you there in July and August? Yeah, I need to go check out Colorado. We'll see. We'll see what comes of this year. Mostly, I think this year is going to be hanging out here at home. You'd ride up to 11,000 feet. That's incredible. Okay, so to put that in another perspective, so the only point of Mount Rainier that I've been at, we've got a place called Paradise. That's where there's a huge lodge, and there's trails around wildflowers and a huge parking lot. And that is at That's probably around 8,000 feet, something like that. I don't know. I haven't looked in a while. But anyway, you leave from there. If for people that are going to climb Mount Rainier, they go up from there to the base camp for summiting, and that one's at 10,000 feet. So the base camp, I don't remember the name of it, and this is the most common route for people that want to go up Mount Rainier. I have no desire to go up it because I don't like ice cliffs and walking over ice bridges. I have no desire to do that, but some people do. And but I've been up to that base camp, and if I remember right, there was concern like you got to be like they warn you that hey, this is a low oxygen area, so be prepared if you start feeling sick. You know, notice the signs for sickness. That's at 10,000 feet. And so here, Dead Wolf Resistance is saying he rode up to 11,000 feet. So just trying to give people perspective for that. And then you guys back east, I mean, I think your highest peaks are like 6,000 or 7,000 feet, aren't they? And those are your highest? I don't remember. I always like looking at this stuff on maps, but then I don't remember it really well, the details. Oh, September through November. Yeah, that sounds amazing. What were you doing? Just out riding? Rode in the Valley of the Gods. And that's Utah, isn't it? Which Utah is also high elevation, the whole freaking state. Mount Mitchell here in North Carolina. Yes, I looked up Mount Mitchell, but I don't remember how high it is. I mean, isn't that around 7,000 feet? Or 6,800 or something? Anyway, elevations are just wild to me. Because, you know, basically it's all about the main level, and then from the main level up is kind of how, because it's not like our mountains aren't tall. It's just that we're by the coast, so our elevations aren't that high. And then as you drive over to Idaho is a lot higher in general. However, Boise I don't think is that much higher. But then you get into Nevada and Utah and Colorado and northern Arizona, and all that stuff is like common to be 4,000 feet and higher. Okay, North Carolina is just shy of 7,000. Yeah. Yeah, so the East Coast is different in that it's also at sea level around it, and then the mountains only went up 7,000. And I learned about that in science class, but I don't remember why, the difference. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's because tectonic activity, like how disruptive it is. Because we've got volcanoes over here, so I think the volcanoes help make the tectonic activity more active and steeper, taller mountains versus the East Coast. Honestly, I think the East Coast would be more desirable because as much as I love the mountains, it's annoying how steep they are, and makes most of the land unusable. You gotta stick to trails. That's why I want to find places where it's more rolling hills and have more options than just following the same trails that everybody follows, or following the same trail you take every time. Oh, you're a wrangler for an outfitter. Oh, that's cool. Yep, that's the kind of thing I wished I would have found when I was a teenager. Oh well. Yamamoto Simmons says, I had the pleasure of seeing the Tusher Mountains in Utah in July of last year. Yeah, Utah is phenomenal. That place, I didn't really realize it when I took a route through Moab I was hauling my horses that year from Texas, and just the whole terrain just started changing. But I haven't been down south of Moab. My brother says that's some of the best country he's been in. Yeah. Mm. Well, we'll see. I've got somebody that likes taking care of my horses now, so, and I got my fuel efficient car, so who knows? Maybe I'll take off for Colorado, take a break, go drive through Utah and Colorado. Probably not, but I like thinking about going on more trips. It is kind of fun. It's fun when there's plenty of open land to go and camp in. Texas, as much as I love Texas, it was challenging. Having to park in gas station parking lots all the time and never having anywhere to really just open up and go walking with the dogs and be able to see for miles. But sometimes I wish I was down in Texas this year. I was meeting a lot of people, made some good connections. There's people that I'd like to go down there and see and just kind of keep up those connections. But not going to do it this year, but who knows? Maybe next year I'll go back. Especially if my movie's good. If my movie's good, then I really want to do stuff. These days, it's the challenge with movie making these days is distributing. For those of you who don't know movie making, I'm only learning it now. I didn't really know this stuff before, but like the studio, they make the decision which movie to make. They make it, and then there's a distributor who in the past they had connections with all the movie theaters, so they would use their connections to put a movie in the theaters. And I don't know how much it's changed now, but it's definitely changed. Like, I don't even hear about movies that are going into the theaters. Like, there's a movie about a comedian. Like, you would think that somehow that advertising would get to me, but I only know of it because Joe Rogan had, who was it? I'm not going to remember now, and I don't care. But Joe Rogan had one of the producers or director on, and he talked about it. It was Will Arnett as the star, and then whoever it was that Will Arnett and this other guy made it. Famous name, slips my mind. That's the only way I found out about it. And then same with the Matt Damon Ben Affleck movie. That's one that I would go watch. I'm not really into cop movies, but I'd certainly like to go see it. And but anyway, I only heard about him because of Joe Rogan. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. That's where we're at with movies these days. Like they're still being made. I looked to see if it was playing in the theater, and it was, because most movies that I hear about and I want to see, they're not playing in all theaters. I live in a small town, so it's rare to get them here. Maybe they'll be in Seattle, but Seattle's extremely liberal, so they don't generally play the kind of movies that I want to watch. And but anyway, I looked at the movie theater, and sure enough, there's a whole long list of movies. Not like COVID era, when there's hardly any movies. And so I was really surprised to see that how active Hollywood is apparently, and I'm not even hearing about it. So anyway, that was all pointless. Distributing is about how you get the movie out there, and I guess that was my point, is that there's movies that I would like to see, and I plan to go see at least one of them in the theater, and yet they're not even getting to me. So that's like the challenge of movies these days, is how do you get them out there? And then you get these independent filmmakers that wouldn't bring a big enough crowd for a movie to be put in movie theaters anyway. Unless they get lucky or it's a fluke and they make a super good movie, and for some reason the movie theaters want to put it out. So the challenge these days for independent filmmakers is, how do you get your movie out there? That was the point there. How do you get your movie out there? So a lot of people, what they're doing is they'll rent movie theaters. So they'll find small towns with theaters, and they'll do screenings there. So they'll travel around and show their movie in different towns. So to me, that seems like a lot of fun. I would like to do that. So if my movie's any good, I'm not going to do that if it's like a mediocre movie. But if it's good where people enjoy it, then who knows? That's one of the options that people do. I watch a lot of videos, see what people are doing in the independent world. Mostly in the independent world, people put out a movie and it gets 500 views. Like, spending 20 grand to make a movie, which isn't much for a movie, but it's a lot for people that don't have money. And you make this movie, some of them are pretty good, and then they hardly even get views. It's kind of weird. Oh, how do I like John Denver's folk songs? John Denver's incredible. I can listen to his songs on loop, and then even his songs that aren't about Denver or Virginia. There's one I thought it was kind of cheesy at first because I always thought John Denver was a dork, and he kind of was, but that's not so bad. That's not such a crime. And he's got one that's called "It's About Time." It's about time. That was a song used at this personal development course that I went through. And if you guys haven't heard that, it's incredible. I recommend it. Is that the movie about ISMO? Finnish comedian. I don't think so. World's Funniest Outsider is the name of that movie. No, I have not heard of that. Is that a Finnish independent film? If so, please send me the link or the... Oh, wait, in the name. World's Funniest Outsider is the name. Well, I can't write that down. And if I... yeah, thanks. Hope my movie plans work out and folks see it. Yeah, well, I only want them to see it if it's good. And I think it'll be good. I mean, I've got... I just think it's better to be on the down low promoting it before it's made, because I could be all excited and enthusiastic talking about how good it's going to be and then look like an idiot if it's not good. So so I just try to play my cards properly, wait until it's actually done. Oh yeah, the movie that I mentioned, sorry, I did know that you were asking. The movie, it's called Is This Thing On? It's going to be streaming, I think, in February, but I want to see it in the movie theater. So, yeah, it's called Is This Thing On? Starring Will Arnett. And I keep thinking Matthew McConaughey, but that's not who it was. Oh, Bradley Cooper. I get those two mixed up because they kind of look alike. Bradley Cooper made it. I think he directed it. Him and Will Arnett wrote it, I believe. And Bradley Cooper was on Joe Rogan. He's a cool guy. Seems like it. Some of those actors on Joe Rogan, I don't even want to listen to them. They get on there and talk about how cool they are and how incredibly amazing they are, and so obnoxious. But Matt Damon and Affleck were actually pretty cool to listen to, and so was Bradley Cooper. Just thought it was an ISMO movie because ISMO is pretty popular. Oh, yeah, see, and I just found out about another one. So ISMO, you would think, like, what I'm getting at here is why aren't we hearing about these movies? And I think that's the challenge these days, is advertising movies, because like I said, that's already two examples. Two more. There was another movie I just found out about it. You reminded me. Something about trains. Like, oh, Ismo. Okay. I thought it was the letters, the initials for the movie. So Ismo. Yeah, we don't know what that is. Is it in? Anyway, there's another one that was made in Eastern Washington. It takes place during the Depression era, I think it is. It's about logging and trains, which you would think that I would hear about because I'm into both of those. And it was filmed up around Spokane, but I only found it because a friend told me about it. And uh, apparently, it's got nominations for awards for high high level awards, but which also makes me think I probably won't like it because anything that Hollywood is giving awards to these days, like I just heard a guy talking, James Woods. I heard him on a podcast saying that the criteria to win a Grammy, no Oscar, the criteria to win an Oscar is that one of the main characters has to be like a minority or a woman, which is fine. I don't care if they're in movies. I'll watch any movie that they're in if it's good. But when you start out as we're only going to say a movie is good if it has that in, then it's like, okay, well, you don't care about what a good movie is. You care about virtue signaling. And I think that has no place in the arts. Um, a lot of good movies that I love are phenomenal, with minorities and women, of course. That's not what this is about. It's when you have when their criteria for saying it's only good if, and then of course, and he was talking about how then of course the bad guy, the antagonist, has to be the old white guy, and it's just so stupid. And that's the problem. To me, that's the problem with Hollywood is they aren't about making good movies. They're about making uh, movies by number, paint by number. So anyway, my point is this independent film that I heard about is getting Hollywood nominations, which makes me think I probably won't like it. I especially resent it when they take historical settings and use it for some modern message. Um, and I'm afraid that's what this movie is. Like, my dad was a logger. Well, my dad was a kid during the 30s. He was a logger in the 40s, during high school and college. And my grandpa was a logger in the 30s. And so I don't like to see it misrepresented. Same with the Old West. I don't like to see it misrepresented. Throw in some feminist message and retell history. I take that personal. I hate it, and I resent it. So anyway, that's why I don't know. I haven't heard about that movie, and you would think that I would, but I probably won't like it anyway. And it's only on Netflix, so eventually I'm gonna watch it and see. Um, Mark Hamill, actor of Luke Skywalker, said something like, "I don't have an issue with that the protagonist is a woman. It's just that it's all they did." Yeah, I didn't know Mark Hamill talked bad because he's. But yeah, it's and Game of Thrones is a perfect example. I mean, who didn't like Cersei, Arya, and well, I guess those were the ones that. Oh, and then the shoot, what was her name? The big knight, the woman who fought the Hound. Um, I'm so bad with names, but anyway, I mean, I think everybody loved those characters because they were actual characters. Well, Arya, they kind of botched her. She became a Mary Sue in that everything she did was perfect and she was just amazing. Um, but before that, her lead up, like she was one of the best characters. Um, and then, and so that's why, if you don't like a female character these days, like 1984, then you're automatically termed a misogynist. But the proof is, look at Game of Thrones. Everybody loved those characters. I loved those characters. So it's more that you're just writing garbage and then getting mad at people for not liking it. Anyway, I'm probably preaching to the crowd here. Also, probably losing some people, which is fine because if you think art um, is all about paint by numbers, then my channel's not for you. All right, I'm getting worked up. We should change the subject. Uh, Rings of Power is another example. Rings of Power. was Rings of Power? Was that the Lord of the Rings TV show they did? Another woman character I absolutely love is Gone with the Wind. Well, love, hate her. I mean, she was such an amazing character, but she was so freaking obnoxious. Scarlett O'Hara. Absolutely love that movie, and she was amazing. Of course, it was Clark Gable that really made that movie for me. But even better than Scarlett O'Hara was Melanie. She was just an incredible woman and excellent actress, and yeah, just another great example of fantastic movie making. That proves it's not about misogyny. It's about make a good dang movie. Yeah, Rings of Power. I think I tried. I don't know if I even tried watching it. I think I tried one episode of the other Lord of the Rings show, and the first 5 minutes was all about how dumb white guys are and how smart and wonderful the main character was. I was like, this is just, it's just garbage. And I'm going to do a video on my other channel, not this channel. I wasn't supposed to talk about this stuff on this channel, but since it has to do with art, that's why I'm doing it. But anyway, the other channel, I'm actually going to talk about why it's like give an explanation, science explanation as to why this stuff is garbage and why it's harmful, why it's actually about conditioning a generation. And if you don't know that this is intentional, and I've been noticing it since I was a kid. So I grew up Christian and conservative Christian, and I could see in the shows how I've watched how they've deliberately written shows and pushed stuff. This is all stuff from my other channel. It's all about conditioning people, and I'm going to talk about that on my other channel. Yes, Tolkien is turning in his grave. And not because I'm trying to push that religion on anybody. That's not the point. It's just that my eyes were attuned to it, so I was able to see it. When you don't have those traditional morals that they're writing to take down, they're intentionally writing to counter it, then you probably wouldn't notice because it doesn't stand out to you. But that was my point there, not to try to... the other channel is over on the creek side. So like this, over on the wild side, but over on the creek side, because the intention was to sit by the creek and do these videos. I think I've only got one video there and a few shorts. And I don't even remember now what that video was about, but I thought it was good enough that I left it up. But none of it's to push anything on people. It's to give a alternative view that I've learned by leaving society. And by leaving society, my eyes have been opened more and more to the lies of society. And that includes everything. That includes religion, politics, art, all of that stuff. When you get outside of it and you separate yourself from it, and if I guess if you understand what you're looking at, you can see how it's all just deliberate. Oh, and capitalism even. Now, it doesn't mean I'm socialist. Socialism is even worse. Communism is even worse. Gosh, I wasn't supposed to talk about any of this stuff. But if you're still watching after all this, you're probably fine with it. So it's not to take any sides. It's actually, the point isn't to take sides. It's to separate, to be outside of it and not take a side. Like, I'm not a centrist. I hate the term centrist because all that is taken from the left and the right to form your position. I'm outside of it. I'm an elitist. You can even call me that because I think my views are way better than all the garbage that that society is pushing. And so it's an alternative view that's not But people don't get that. Like when I try to talk about it on Facebook, people just usually assume that, well, if you disagree with me, then you agree with them, or if you disagree with them, then you agree with me. That kind of stuff. Um, and I do love Christianity, but I think that it is way off track. Which, if you really love something, you want it to improve. Like people think when I critique society, I'm just being negative. But if I had kids, you know what I'd be doing? I'd be critiquing the kids because I love them and I want the best for them. And that's one of the freaking problems with our society is that people think if you critique them, you're being hateful. It's most of the response I get from religious people when I critique Christianity. It's because it's what I know, and I wish it was doing better, so I critique it. What I don't critique, like I'm not going to go talk to a bunch of people that are obviously disagreeing with me because I just consider them gone. I don't try to win them over. Anyway. Yeah, elite. Okay, I gotta give me a chance here. When I say elitist, I'm talking about me looking at myself as better than that mentality. I'm not talking about the elites. Like the elites are a certain group, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the generic term of an elitist. And I was kind of being sarcastic. I don't think that I'm better than other people. I think that my views are better than what society pushes. Um, that's what I mean by that in the generic sense. Yeah, the elites, I have nothing to do with them, want nothing to do with them. And of course, I'm against what they're doing. That's why we got to be careful with terms. Like elite is like a personality view or like a personality person can hold. But yeah, it's become that would be a noun, wouldn't it? The elites, a group of people. Um, kind of like how I have conservative values, but I'm not a conservative. Yamato says, I always sought the solitude of the mountains to avoid the stress of certain aspects of society. Yeah, exactly. I wish I would have decades before. I always wanted to, and I finally had the courage to do it. And I'm so glad I did. My eyes just were opened up more and more every year that I was out here. I'm a very different person than I used to be 10 years ago before I came out here, before I left society. I mean, I was always had a personality of different, but yeah, to see things more clearly, very much cleared from it all. Han says, I like calling you Han. I don't know if that offends you, but like Han Solo. I grew up Christian. I'm personally not Christian myself, but I have respect for Christians, and I'm really grateful for having grown up with 9. Oh my goodness, 9 brothers and sisters. So that means 13 or 12 total. I forget. Well, there's a lot of people. So what I'm working on, it's what I call the philosophy of Christianity. Because when trying to have discussions about Christianity, atheists are some of the most annoying people to try to discuss with. And mostly what they're doing is they're refuting just simple stuff that you learn. I call it Sunday school Christianity. And what I'm working on is the philosophy of Christianity, so that instead of having to discuss, well, there was no virgin birth, so it's all stupid. Like that's just an ignorant way of approaching it. Or there's no way Jesus resurrected, so that means the whole Bible is just silly. Like you can say that if you want, but I don't respect it intellectually. But instead of getting into those arguments, and like, I'm not approaching it as an apologist, what I'm looking at is the philosophy of Christianity. And to make the most simple example would be like the Golden Rule. That went under attack 10 years ago. They really tried to attack it. It was stupid. And so the Golden Rule really is a good one. But I don't know if they intentionally or if people were just that dumb that I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, that they intentionally misrepresented what the Golden Rule is. I think that's also when empathy started on the rise, which is also stupid. But not empathy itself is stupid, just the way that people were utilizing it. And so talking about really what the Golden Rule is. And then there's another one that I'm working on in the book of John. It lays out a philosophy. It's not just about, well, Jesus did a miracle, then he died, and now everybody should be Christian. There's a whole philosophy written in there about people. Like, there's this kind of people, there's this kind of people. And Jesus, the way that I see the book of John being written is that almost like, just think of it as a story, like a novel, or like a philosophy book where you have your main character who is there. He's used to bring out the different types of people so that you can discuss, well, these are the different types of reactions we see from people. And Jesus is written as a literary tool to expose that. Kind of like the Plato, wasn't it Plato that wrote Socrates, the stories, the conversations of Socrates, where Socrates, there's some people that think Socrates might not have even existed. I think he did, but it doesn't matter because Plato wrote him as a literary device to bring up these conversations. And Nietzsche did the same thing with his Zarathustra. He made up a character. Zarathustra was a real character, but he made up for his story to. So anyway, looks like I'm finally losing views. Don't know if that's because of what I'm talking about or if it's because we've now gone for an hour and 40 minutes. Yeah, weak-minded people call it a cult. Yeah, I'll get into that too eventually. Yeah, mythologies have a philosophical value. Yes, exactly. And so if we lived in a society where people were able to discuss things instead of just belittling and misinterpreting, then we could be discussing these things. But the problem is it's going to offend everybody because there's the people that hate Christianity, they don't want to hear it. And then there's the Christians that don't want to hear it because I'm not talking about established Christian doctrine. So why do I do that? Because I got to be true to the logic that I see. And anyway, yeah, there's still some people viewing. I don't know. I never know if that count is correct anyway, because sometimes it seems like some people drop off and then the numbers bounce back up. It's just interesting it would be interesting to see solid numbers that drop when I bring up a subject. So anyway, I wasn't going to bring up any of that, but we got to talking about my Over on the Creekside channel, and that's what it is going to be about, that kind of stuff. So, but like I said, if you're still watching after an hour, then this probably isn't really going to offend anybody that's still watching. All right. I haven't started it. It's been so difficult for me to get that channel going. I did the one video and then I haven't done any more. I'm working on the one video from the Gospel of John, But I might go live tomorrow. Every week I think about doing a live stream on there to talk about this stuff. And so maybe I will tomorrow. I'm thinking about doing a live stream there every Sunday, same time, 8:30 a.m. So if you guys are interested, watch for that. I'll post the link in the same places, but specify that it's the other channel. And then now that I'm getting sunshine again, hopefully it doesn't go away completely, and I can start working on the stuff that I'm studying. Because when I'm studying, I got to use a computer to write my notes, and I got to charge my laptop to do that. So that's why this last 8 days I gave up on that. Well, that was fun. I love talking about that stuff. To me, it's just really interesting, and one of my big issues of society is that we don't have a society that is conducive to discussion. That's why, like, it doesn't surprise me at all if most people's response is to hear any of what I said and decide, oh, he's dumb, and leave. And that has happened on this channel when I used that word elitist, and where that could be misinterpreted. I said that about Putin once. I used a word that could be misinterpreted. I didn't misuse the word, just that at least 2 people said something. So that makes me wonder how many people didn't say something but were also offended. They took it the wrong way and decided that they were done listening to me. Not because of what I believe, but because of the one word that I used, and therefore they decided what you believe is this. They didn't ask, well, so are you saying this, or explain yourself. They just said, okay, because you said that, you believe X, and therefore I'm done. And they've been gone ever since. And it's unfortunate. But that's the kind of society we live in. And I don't know anybody who can. I don't respect anybody who can say that we live in a fine society. I'm sorry, if we can't discuss things without getting angry and without misinterpreting what people say, that is not an advanced society. That's just animals. That's animal behavior. You take dogs out, they don't discuss things. If they dislike another dog, they fight, and they don't understand where the other dog is coming from. They just attack, and that's why our civilized society is really just a bunch of animal behavior masked in elaborate explanations. And you see it all over on Facebook and Reddit of just you're not saying what I want you to say, so I attack you. And it's just such animal behavior, which is ironic coming from me. Over on the wild side, I mean, my intention was to get into the wild side of life, but in doing so, I've really learned a lot about what wild life is and what wild behavior is in humans. And there's a lot more wild. There's a lot more wild behavior in society than people are willing to acknowledge. Oh boy, somebody brought up Trump. Well, we've been going for an hour and 44 minutes, so I don't know why we shouldn't handle this. So is Trump going to make America great? Oh, maybe you're just joking. Here's my quick thing about that. Guys, I don't think he can. I think the first time that Trump was in office, he was blown away by how knit together the whole thing is. Like, there's guys from Congress that have been kicked out of Congress, but they give us an insight into what it's like in the political world. Like, there's guys, that's the beauty of podcasts these days. We can learn things that we never could have learned. Like I can make guesses about how our politics work. Like, you can watch the media, watch what happens, and try to piece together this is what's going on, but it's all a guess. And so when I get to hear a guy talking for 3 hours who was involved in politics at the Congress level, at the senator level, and now they're out, or for some reason they're sharing insights, I listen close, because now I get to hear an insider's view. That's way more accurate than my guessing. And what you find out if you listen to these guys, there's a really good one. It was a gay conservative, a gay Republican that got kicked out. Like, he went to prison. He was only in prison for like 7 months. And then I heard another video of him afterward. And he wasn't bad mouthing everybody. He was just saying, yeah, this is what it's like in there. He said what he went to prison for, this is a great example. What he went to prison for was something that everybody in Congress does. The only reason that he went to prison was because enough of them decided, this guy's dangerous. And so they teamed up and exposed the rule that he broke, even though they've all broken the rule. And so that got him kicked out of Congress and went to prison for it. So it was just an elitist clique, like you see in high school, public school, just the same behavior. Like, you're not falling into line with us, so we're gonna use this rule that nobody follows, but we're gonna use it now in your case to get you out. And surprisingly, he wasn't bad talking everybody, but he was exposing what it's like. Like he said, one of the things, my takeaway, my words, was that he said these guys, they get out on Congress floor, the stuff that we see videos of, and they talk and they argue, or they act like they're passionate about something. And then later they all go to the same party and everybody's talking like they're all friends. It's all just a facade. It's a joke to them. And of course, as we all know, the main thing is that they won't address is term limits or their pay. Like, the government shutdown happens, they don't get shut down. Anyway, so the point is, I don't think Trump can make changes. So instead of fighting over whether Trump has good intentions or not good intentions, it's kind of a moot point, because the way that our government is set up, the way that it has devolved into corruption, he can't make changes anyway. Personally, I think he's trying in a lot of ways. I don't know how sold to Israel he is. There's some people that just say he's the worst, of course, when it comes to doing what Israel says. But I think his first time in office, he was just blown away by how coordinated they were against him. Like, he couldn't even get Republicans to help him, if you remember. He kept having to fire people. And then, of course, the media made fun of that. Like, oh, he just fires everybody. And, they take everything. Nothing about it is about interpreting what's really going on. And then this time in office, he came in with a much wiser strategy from experience. And but I think he's still finding out just how controlled all of our politicians are. And so he's getting more stuff done this time, I think, but he's up against a lot. I mean, come on. He brought in Elon Musk to expose fraud or even just waste, not even fraud. Like, okay, let's not even accuse them of wrongdoing. Let's just say, hey guys, it's sloppy. Let's clean this up. And look at how much attack Elon got under and Trump got under just for exposing financial waste. I mean, that's weird. That's weird to have the media and tons of people attacking over financial waste. I mean, that one just blows my mind. Like, you can't run your own house if you're blowing money left and right. Your own finances will fall apart. Why do we want the country finances to be run that way? That one alone should just open your mind to the state of our nation. And if that doesn't get through to somebody, then I don't know. I'm just glad that I live out here. So anyway, Stanley York, you have to have an open mind. Yes, you do. And that starts by admitting that I don't know everything and that I have to listen close, because I'm also not the smartest man in the world. And believe it or not, those two attitudes right there are extremely rare, because what you find on social media and most people is they do think they're smart, and they do think that they can figure it all out by one or two sources. Dead Wolf Resistance says Empire's fall. This country probably already did, just like all the others. Yeah, a lot of people take that take on it. I don't think so. I think that our country, like the Constitution, is really revolutionary. And I believe that we're still at a place where if enough people would open their eyes to the corruption, I think we can do something about it. But when people are like, it's so bizarre to see all these, all the Somali fraud. Like it was primarily exposed in Minnesota. And then we've got people here in Washington State exposing it. People doing basically the same thing, going around to these businesses and showing how many millions our government is giving to these businesses that don't exist right here in Washington State, just like Minnesota. Same thing is happening in California. But I think it was California that just passed or is trying to pass a law, or maybe it was Washington trying to pass a law that that stuff can't be exposed or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but I mean, that's just bizarre when you get people protecting that. I mean, and then Washington State is trying to institute a income tax because they need money, and yet we can track billions that have been given away to fake businesses. There's something wrong. There is seriously something wrong there. But what I'm trying to say is, if people would see through that garbage, I believe that America is designed in such a way that we could overturn it. Like we've got a lot of, like, protesting is huge. We see it being abused. Protesting is supposed to be against our government. Like that's why it exists. The freedom of speech, the media, protesting, all of that is to prevent a government from taking over a people. It wasn't to interrupt churches. It wasn't a freedom to protest, to go into somebody's property and tell them you don't like them. That's not what it's about. It's about uprising. It's about protecting the people from the government. That's the purpose of it. It's not to go in and tell people we don't like you worshiping Jesus or whatever. I mean, it was because they said the pastor was an ICE guy, but that's not okay. That's not what protesting exists for. But it exists to stand up against the government. And so I don't think that America has fallen. And I know that a lot of people like to say that. And it's just not true. I mean, especially with social media, we've got the first time in human history, we've got communication and information available to us on an extreme level. So we can do things like podcasts and talk about what's right and what's wrong, and we can still protest. And we saw during the COVID era how fragile our shipping industry is, and that businesses have, surprisingly, they're not working on a surplus. So strikes are extremely effective right now. We could cripple our the industries, any industry that we wanted, just like that. Like I first came aware of that by reading Martin Luther King biography, Martin Luther King Jr. biography, where they would in the South they would walk and they'd share rides. So, and it describes what it was like. And they made change by doing that kind of stuff, like, protesting in that way by not buying fuel. Like, if we did that today, we could get fuel prices to drop fast. Or we could get, in Washington State, we've got ridiculous taxes that they keep adding because they don't want gas prices to go down. And we could rebel against that really fast. I think in a week or 2 or 3 of sharing rides, and really, but people got to have heart. People got to be willing to give up. Jokes aside, it's really unfortunate. I'm running out of battery. Had fun watching the stream. Good luck with your next projects. I wish I had the motivation. Hey, thanks. Yeah. All right. I certainly didn't mean to go this direction, but that's what I want to talk about on the other channel. Appreciate Han says, appreciate you speaking these things. I do believe you're speaking the truth. I understand why you would rather not avoid talking about it. Too much of politics is not good for mental health. Yeah. Well, and also there's a lot of people who want to enjoy this channel without getting into that stuff. So after going back and forth on how I should handle this this channel, that's where I decided that I would leave. I started going in a direction of talking about this stuff on this channel, but then figured out that I should leave it mostly for history and stuff. So anyway, those of you who stuck around, thanks. If you got any comments or questions, hit me now. Otherwise, I think I'll bring this to an end. Yeah, thanks. I should advertise the other channel more. Well, when I start posting videos, like I've seen people build channels. There's a guy that I know who I met him from his comedy channel, Secrets of Stand-Up. He wrote it for comedians to share his knowledge and experience on stand-up comedy. And I watched him build his channel. And it really does help to have a lot of videos first before really promoting. So that's why right now there's not a lot of point to promote the other channel until I start putting out videos and live streams. So we'll see. But thanks for saying so. Thanks for being in here and chiming in and steering me into this direction. So if anybody's upset, it was his fault because he asked the questions. Kidding, of course. I love talking about this stuff. I think it's a shame that we can't discuss it more. But anyway. All right. Thanks, guys. No more comments and questions are really popping up. So I think I'll just bring this to an end. Thanks for those of you who hang in there. And I'm going to go enjoy some sunshine and make sure my batteries are charging. So thanks, everybody. And enjoy your weekend. And remember, thank you, Yamato. Watch your top knot. Exactly. Keep powder dry. Thanks, Stanley. Appreciate you being here. And appreciate everybody's comments and questions. In Finland, he's going to go enjoy some darkness. Yeah, sorry about that. They've got even shorter days. Thanks, Dead Wolf Resistance. Yeah, I appreciate all the comments and stuff. That really helps. And those of you who stay silent, thanks for watching. Glad you're here. All right. Have fun. Remember, life's a lot more fun over on the wild side.